Good. Well, welcome everybody. This is for those that are new. I know we've got a few new people here. This is a series of workshops that I run every quarter. Rotates between what I think are the 6 major topics that as business owners or people that work in business we need to really master and understand. It's always good with these. I know a few of you have been to them before. It's always good to come back because you'll be at different place in your business, in the role, and you'll pick up different things as you go through. So it's like everything in life, you never stop learning. There's always something new to work on. So the series that we've got, these are the 6 workshops. So they run every 2 weeks. So obviously this is the marketing one, and we will be marketing down there, yep, in red. And then in 2 weeks' time, we'll be moving on to finance. So they rotate between one on sales and marketing related, and then one on operational and building the business. So it's a nice little balance there. Good. So I know there's a few of you said you're just here to learn, but I always find with learning, the more specific you can be with what you want to get out, the more chance you're going to have of actually finding it. So when we're thinking about marketing, what would be one really key thing for you to get out of today? So just have a think and drop it in the chat box if you would, because it's quite handy. We can then go back and make sure at the end that I've actually achieved that for everybody.
Sorry guys, better late than never.
Oh, well done, Nick. Good. Okay, use of social media. Yeah, skills that can transfer into. So what skills specifically, Kaylee?
Yeah, well, it's my first time doing like business development and social media. So like Sabrina said, skills that I can use for social media. I've never done it before. So stuff that I can use to a bit more knowledge. I'm doing a social media course as well.
Okay.
But just so I'm kind of learning a bit more, and I'm really keen to like learn new things and make sure that I'm doing the best job I can.
Cool.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Good. So on the social media, well, I'm not going to cover social media specifically because those are quite niche items and how to use them. What we're going to cover here is the fundamentals that you can apply to any media. So it could be social media, it could be telemarketing, it could be direct mail. It doesn't matter what it is. You have to understand the fundamentals of marketing. Otherwise, you'll end up doing it and it won't be effective, or it won't be as effective as it could be if you really understand the fundamentals. So Jan, marketing strategy together. Yep. Cool. So we're really going to be looking at that. What do you need to put into a marketing plan to really help move you forwards? So excellent. Any others? Nick, what about you? What's the key area for you?
Well, for me, I remember from the last time I did this workshop, which was probably a year or so ago, that it's all about target offer copy. But I don't know what's the. I want to generate these quickly.
Oh, if you wanted the magic potion, you should have said. I could have just sent that to you. It's easy then, wouldn't it? So.
When I try and break it down to who am I trying to target, I'm trying to target everyone.
Yeah.
What am I trying to offer? I'm trying to offer everything.
Yeah.
Can I copy that? I don't know. Can I even do it once?
Okay. Well, we'll try and sort of just make it a little bit clearer. I mean, sometimes it's just spending a bit of time thinking about it, because we're all often too busy doing stuff in our businesses, and we think, oh yeah, I need to find a target, but we never really have the time to do that. So I might pick on you a little bit today just to help you in that process.
I feel like everyone else today.
It's because we care, Nick. It's because Okay, cool. So just say that one thing that you want to get out of today, just have that in mind and we'll make sure we cover it. So the first thing, starting right at the very high level, the first thing we've got to understand really clearly what marketing is. Okay, so what is actually marketing? Now, if you go and talk to marketing experts, you know, you could interview 10 marketing experts and ask them what marketing is, and they'll all give you 10 different answers. So people will come up with, you know, it's all about promotion and price and place, and this is the 7 P's of marketing, which we're taught when we do our MBAs, and it's all interesting stuff. Okay, there's nothing that it says it isn't that. But if you come back to the fundamentals of what marketing is, it is lead generation. Okay, so whatever we do within marketing, the only purpose of doing marketing is to generate leads. Okay, it's not about your brand. It's not about, you know, social media. It's not about anything apart from, is what I'm going to do now going to generate me a lead instantaneously, i.e. as soon as I put it out, or is it going to help me build a funnel, a pipeline of leads that are going to come in the future? So whatever we do, if we're not thinking with that mindset, then we're likely to do it wrong, and we're likely to waste loads and loads of time and loads of money. So when we come to the Action Coach system, there are these 5 ways, okay? 5 ways that we can actually grow our business. Yeah, number 1 is we improve our leads. Number 2 is we get better at converting those leads. Number 3 is number of transactions. So how many times do people come back on a regular basis? How much do they spend? And what's our margins? So how much profit are we making out of each of them? And the key thing to remember is this one here, leads, is all about marketing. Conversion is sales. Now, a lot of people, certainly in larger businesses, that they get these two muddled up, or they combine them together. Okay, and they're not. They are completely different disciplines. They take completely different skill sets and different strategies. Now, they do blend into each other. It's not just sort of marketing, then sales, they're completely separate. They have to work together, but the disciplines of doing each, you know, are different. So we've got to understand that, you know, if we're going to be marketing, what we're trying to do here is get somebody to show an interest in what we actually do. Okay, and then if we can have that in our mind, then we've got a much better chance of success. So on that basis, if we're just thinking about lead generation, we then go back to my little formula for life success, which if you've been to these, you'll start to, you know, to really understand what this is. So be times do equals have. Have is our dreams and our goals, what we want to achieve. E is our attitude, knowledge, and skills, and do is the action that we take. Now, you know, if I speak to people that have been here before, you'll understand that the have is the most important. Once we know what we want to have, then we know what we want to be. So what skills do we need, and the plan and the action that we need to take. So if I go back to Sabrina said, you know, I want to, you know more about social media. Yeah, the first thing we've got to understand is, okay, so what do you want to have as a result of social media? So what is the goal that we're actually aiming for? Once we know the goal, then okay, then there's a knowledge gap that I need to go and fill, and then there's an action gap of the activity that I need to achieve that. So it doesn't matter what we want in life. Yeah, if we're not getting it, it's either because we're not clear what it is, yeah, or what we need to do about it. So go back to Nick's point, you know, I want to have more marketing. I don't know my target. It's very difficult then to start setting really clear goals because it's all too vague, and therefore we don't know what do we need to learn, and therefore what do we need to do. And when you've got too much choice, yeah, you do nothing. So I call that the Indian restaurant syndrome. So if you go into an Indian restaurant, how many pages in an Indian restaurant, Nick?
I don't know. I only go from address.
Exactly. Yeah, you have 6 pages of things, and you'll just go, oh, I just have what I've always had. Okay, and that's the same with marketing. Is once we understand there's so many marketing strategies we could use, Yeah, we then go, oh, I don't know any of them that well because my B's not particularly good, and therefore I do nothing, or I do what I've always done. Okay, if you do what you've always done, you get what you've always got. So back to the chat box then. See if you can actually be, or give me a particular marketing goal that you want to achieve in the next 3 months. So come up with something that is, you know, nice and clear, would be a goal for you in your business to achieve on marketing. Okay, take a couple of minutes to jot something down. So I've just got somebody that's trying to get in. I'll work out what the password was for the okay, so let's see what we've got then. Good. So Nick, so 9 new leads per week. Excellent. So that's nice and specific. Yep. Find a way to help accountants to understand on their client side that will introduce their clients to me. Okay. So that's what I would call a bit more about what we need to do. I think if we come back to the goal, would be right. Is the goal, how many accountants do you want on board? You know, what is it that's going to be specific around that? 100 followers on social media resulting to 10 leads. I think if we could achieve that, Sabrina, then we could all retire. But I think 100 followers would be okay, you know, and then you'll have to see what your conversion rate is of those 100 followers. You know, maybe you can get 100. Okay, sorry. I'm just going to stop. I've got somebody waiting to get in, but they're coming in. Clearly define, so where are we? Clearly define vision and mission statement, new website, social media presence, clearly define brand. So those are good. So if we go back to the marketing, what is the goal for marketing? What do you really want to achieve? You know, I think if we think about it, goals need to be smart. Okay, they've got to be, you know, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, within a time frame, and be inspiring and emotional. They've got to make you sort of excited if I achieve that. So, you know, if I go back to Sabrina's, you know, 10 inquiries, 10 leads in every month, every week, then what would that then lead to? That would then lead to more sales eventually. But at this stage, it's really about that clear goal of what we want to, where we want to get to. So anything in life, the more clear that we can become, the more measurable it is, the more chance we're going to have to actually achieve it. Kaylee, so find a way to use social media more to advertise what we offer. So that's good. Yeah. As a result of that, we've got to be clear. So you've got to go to Charlie and say, Charlie, right, what do I want from this? If I'm going to do this marketing on Facebook or whatever it is, what's our goal that we're trying to achieve? Because as we'll see as we go on, the clearer we are at the front, the easier it does become. It's not, certainly not straightforward, but the easier it becomes as we go through. So if we look at this and say the ultimate goal with our business is I want to achieve I've got somebody who's just obviously not used Zoom that much. I'm gonna have to, excuse me one second, I'm gonna go to WhatsApp. Can't do it. That's really let me. Right, last go for them. So start with the end in mind. So what is the profit that we want to achieve within our business? Okay, that's where we should always start. Now, for some of you, that will be set from the business owner, the MD, whatever it is, but we've got to be clear what our profit is. And from that, we can identify what the sales are, what the average transaction value is, the amount of existing business that we're going to get through the business, and then how much new business we want to bring in. And this is what sort of marketing is really all about. It's how much new business we need to actually bring in to the organization. What's our general conversion rate? So therefore, from that, we should be able to find our actual leads and therefore the activity that we need to put into this. Okay, so if we look at this in detail, come back to here. So let's just say that we want a profit of, let's say that is sort of, let's say it's 20,000 for the month. Okay, and we have a 10% net profit. Therefore, we need sales of 200k. Yep. Our average sale, let's say, is £2,000. So therefore, we need 100 clients. Okay, so £2,000 at 200.
Sorry to interrupt, Kevin.
Hello?
I'm not sure if you're still sharing your screen.
Sorry. I've moved my screen around so much. Thank you for saying. Let me go back to there. I'm not sharing, am I? I'm glad somebody said, there we go. Is that better?
I wasn't sure if it was just me. Thank
I
you.
think everyone was feeling that. So so if my target is 20,000 profit, and at 10% net profit, that would be £200,000 of sales. I have a £2,000 sales value. That would mean I need 100 clients. If my existing business was going to generate, let's say, 150,000. Okay, so if I did nothing, my existing clients would come back on a regular basis and actually spend 200,000, 150,000 with me. Yeah, then the new business I need to gain is going to be 50,000. Okay, and at my 2,000, which means I would need 25 new clients. Okay, if my conversion rate was 1 in 2, so every 2 clients I saw, I got 1, so I got 1, then so my conversion rate is 50%, then the number of leads I need is 50. Okay, and if we go back to Sabrina's thing, if I had 100 followers, yeah, or 100 posts or whatever it is, I've got flowers there, followers, yeah, gave me 10, then in order to get 50, I would need 500 followers to get 50. Okay, so you've got to see within this how you come back to what you're trying to achieve. By setting your goal, by working from the bottom up, yeah, starts to set the activity that you're going to need to do in order to build your marketing plan. And then you might say from this, well, 50 leads, I'm not going to get that all from one source of marketing. So I might have 5 ways. So the website might bring some in, my email might bring some in. Okay, my adverts might bring some in, so I might want 10 from my adverts, 20 from email, and 10 from the website. So you can start breaking it down into the individual components, the individual marketing strategies that you need. Because if we don't do this, then what happens is we put all our effort into one area in the hope that it will generate those leads, and very often it's not going to. So we put all our eggs in one basket and we don't achieve the figures that we want. Any questions around those numbers?
Not question the numbers, but so for somebody like me, Kevin, who literally up until this point has literally cold called, yeah, so has no marketing experience at all, like no leads that come in, not sure of conversion rates, things like that.
Yeah.
Do I just have to kind of put a strategy together and monitor it for like a 3 to 6 month period, so then I can kind of do this retrospectively next time round?
I would say if you've got none of these numbers, then estimate them. Okay. If you think about, I mean, you'll have them up to probably this level here. Beyond that, just estimate them. If I saw an average 10 people, how many of those would I convert?
Okay. So you see your minimum expectation that you would set yourself, maybe.
Yeah. Just I mean, if you have to put a finger in the air and just go, well, I'll call it 50%, then that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Then you start measuring it, and then you continue to work at it, but measure it as you go, and then that will give you more clarity on what your real numbers are.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. As we'll sort of see when we get to things like social media, you're down in the probably 1%. Okay, so it's something like 1 in 100 is a good number when you get into social media. If you're in telemarketing and more expensive mediums, you want it to be a lot higher. Okay, so the first thing, before you even get into marketing and should I be doing this, should I be doing that, you've got to be clear what you're trying to achieve as a result of your marketing. Are you setting too low a goal, too high a goal? Do you know really what you want out of this? And also the fact that existing business really, isn't necessarily, it's not a lead generation strategy, it's more of an account management strategy. And it's actually easier when you come to the customer mastery workshop. You'll see that a lot of the strategies around that are a lot easier than trying to find a new customer, because your existing customers already know you, they like you, they trust you. So so you could easily pick up the phone to them and say, hi Fred, I haven't spoken to you for 6 months, how's business, do you want to buy any more? Whereas trying to do that to a cold call, you're not going to get anywhere at all. Okay, so clarity around the goal is always our first step. What is it we really want to achieve? Once we've got that, then we really need to think about our beliefs. So what do we think about marketing? So what do we hold to be true? And one of the key beliefs for a lot of people is marketing is a cost. Okay, that I spend money out, and therefore if times are tough, and I don't have any money, then I reduce my cost to save the money. But what we've got to really think about is marketing is actually an investment. And as a result of that, if we're to invest in anything, what do we want as a result of any investment? Return. Yeah. An ROI, return on investment. So every pound that goes in, we want to get more pounds out. So when we do this, when we look at actually saying, I want to get 10 new leads in, you've got to understand how much a lead is worth to you, because that will then dictate how much you spend on acquiring that lead. So if I go back to the previous case, I had an average pound sale of £2,000. So each client is worth £2,000 to me. Now, if I look at my sort of lifetime value, oh, hi Megan, you made it. Well done. So Kaylee, when you look at your so Kaylee runs Charlie runs a dance school. So when you get one of your students sign up, how long do they tend to stay with you on courses?
A lot of them have stayed for a long time. Like they'll go from like a tiny class to the mini class to the advanced classes. We actually have one of our teachers who started at the same time as me, and he has like trained through with Integrate for most of his life, and then has come back and is now teaching. So they stay for quite a long time. I think that's more of a question for Charlie, as I'm still quite new to the business. But they do, from what I've seen, is a lot of the people are like, oh, my daughter's been here for a really long time, I'm now bringing my younger child. Like that's how I've seen it so far, is we have quite a good clientele, and like keeping them in, and we have a lot of things to offer as well.
So let's say the average lifetime was what, 2 years? Okay, because some will come and go, others will stay a long time. But so you can calculate that. You should have the data. But let's just say it's 2 years. Okay, and how much do they spend roughly in a year? So if they came and did their classes in the course of 12 months, how much would a typical student spend with you?
It depends on if they're just paying for individual classes or if they're paying for the memberships. So we have different types of memberships. An average I'd probably say about £30
£30
for an individual class.
for £30. Is that £30 a year or £30 a month?
So it's for like we do it for like term times. So yeah, so £30 for just one term, or 45 for 2 terms, or so on and so forth. Like it goes up if
So
the longer you.
Let's say it's £30 a term, and there's 3 terms in a year, so that's £90 a year for 2 years. So that's £180 that client is worth to you. Okay. Now, if I had one of these clients in my back pocket, and I said to you, you could buy this client off me, how much would you pay me for that client?
I'm not quite sure I understand.
So the client is worth £180 to you over 2 years. Yeah, and I've got one that I could sell to you.
Yeah.
How much would you pay me for that? Would you give me £180 for that client?
I don't know, 200 something pounds.
So that they were only going to give you 100. So if you were in Kaylee's shoes, Dan,
20 quid.
I'd pay £20.
£20.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll buy a pint.
Give me £20 to buy 180. Okay, you wouldn't pay 200 because you're going to lose money on it all the time. £20 means you get in effect a 4 and a 4.5 times return on investment. And that's what we're trying to achieve here. What I pay against what I get back. Now, this will vary depending on your risk, depending on a number of factors, but for every business, you should be able to come back to a rough sort of idea of how much a new client is worth to you. So that £20 in this case, if you were willing to pay £20, as Jan and Nick were, that then becomes your marketing budget. So that's how much you would actually need to put into your marketing. You'd be happy to put £20 into marketing as long as it gave you a client. So our ability to track our marketing spend and trace it back to the number of clients that it attains is vital. Because if we don't know these numbers, then what we do is we spend loads and loads of money, but we've got no idea what it brings in. So to give you an example, I've got one of my clients, we were talking about this, he turned over around about just under £1 million a month in online sales. Okay, he was spending £20,000 a month on Facebook advertising. Okay, so he was spending every month £20,000, but he was getting back. I mean, that was the retail, so he was getting back around about £200,000 in gross profit on those sales. Okay, and he was happy with that. He was happy spending 20,000 because he knew I spent 20,000, I get 200,000 profit. When he started to increase it and he put it up to £40,000, it didn't have it should have produced twice the amount of profit, but it didn't. Okay, there comes a point where spending more on a strategy doesn't have the same impact. It's like if you put an advert in a paper, you'll get a certain amount of trade from it. If you put 5 ads in the same paper, will you get 5 times the amount of business? No, you won't. Okay, you get a diminishing return. So it's knowing when that diminishing return, so it increases here, goes up and up and up, and then it starts to decline. So it's knowing where this is the ideal return on investment for that ad spend. And it doesn't matter what you spend it on, paper advertising, telemarketing, you've got to understand what that point is, because that's what you're going to measure that investment against. And then if you've got, let's say you've got your 5 sources and one's giving a 4 times return on investment and one's giving a 10 times return on investment, and one's giving a 3 times return on investment and one's giving a 0 times return on investment, how many of those marketing strategies should you run? Jan?
We should.
So it depends on the average sale and lifetime value, really, I would say.
It's all the same. So it's all a good. So we get a return on investment of 4 times what I spend in lifetime value, 10 times, 3 times, and no times.
Okay, well, I would go for the 10 times personally.
You'd go for the 10 times, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, Nick, what would you go for?
I would axe the 0 and try and find another strategy, maybe even axe the 3 times. And yeah, if you can find, there's got to be a sweet spot in there, but the 10 times is worth its weight in gold. But like you said, there could be a peak that, you know, you could put a load more money into that and it's still only going to get, it might even drop down because it's not going to.
Yeah. See, if you had this, you would probably drop this one,
yeah,
and you'd put that money into that one.
Okay.
Why would you stop this one and this one?
Yeah.
Because if I stop that one and put that money into that one and that money into that one, then if I could guarantee I could maintain a 10, yeah, I would do that. But to be honest, I wouldn't even do that. I'd keep the 3 and the 4 and just go and get some more money and put it in 10.
So, but yeah, but why wouldn't you then take the one that's 0 out and try and find another one that could be 15 or 20? Because
So I'd sort of keep those and say, try and find another one. Might be, you know, could be a 15 times.
Kevin, quick question. When you're looking at return on investment, what is a good, because I've got no experience of this, what would you consider to be an average return on investment? Is it dependent on the media that you're using?
It depends on the media. It depends on your business model. You know, it's so, I mean, if I'm looking at, we're doing quite a bit on social media at the moment, and the target on that is 3 times. Okay. Now, in this business, which has been going 9 months, we're around about 1.5 at the moment. We were at minus. We were at minus for about 3 months, so we were spending more than we were getting in. Which, you know, but this was a startup business and it had to gain traction, and therefore we had some money that was set aside to that, but we couldn't continue that, so we've had to, you know, we've dropped a lot of 0s and minuses in order to find the one or two that actually gives us a better return. So we've got a couple that are giving 4 or 5 times, yeah, and we're starting to reduce the ones that don't give us any. And one of them that wasn't even given a 1 times return, we stopped completely for 2 months. We've revamped it, we've re-looked at it, and now we're relaunching it again. So it is very difficult to say, but you know, you've got to go through that process in your own business and find what you're comfortable with. Obviously, if you're guaranteed that client will stay with you, and you know, then you could go lower than 3 times. If there's no guarantee, I'd want a higher return on that investment because they might disappear. And you might say, actually, my return I want in my lifetime value is not 2 years, it should be 3 months. So I need that money back quicker. Okay. So I know for some of you that are not doing marketing much at the moment, this might seem quite complicated. You know, even those of us that do it a lot, it's still complicated. The key to marketing is maths. Okay, there's a real science behind marketing. Sales is more sort of about conversions, and it's a bit more about people. Marketing is purely about the numbers, and mathematicians actually make very good marketers. Okay, because it's you're trying to sort of keep the emotion. Oh, that looks nice, or that looks good. Well, I don't care what it looks like. Is it getting me the numbers? Is it giving me a return? Okay, it's really is very, very key. So once we understand this, marketing is an investment, that we need a return on investment. How do we calculate that? How do we measure that? Then we can start to think, right, that's what we're aiming to achieve. Okay, we need to sort of really sort of look through these numbers and say, right, that's what I'm going to go for. The problem with a lot of marketing is, certainly in smaller businesses, is we come up with lots of reasons why we don't market. Okay, so we don't have the time. We're too busy doing other stuff. We don't have the money, yeah, and we don't have the skill. So you've got to look at this and say, right, which one of these is it? Because if it's the time, we need to make time, or we need to delegate it, or as Charlie's done, we need to get somebody responsible for the marketing and put somebody in that place. If it's the money, then it's generally because we don't have clarity around what our return on investment is going to be. Because if you 100% knew that you could do a 3 times return on investment for any money you spent in your marketing, yeah, you'd go and beg, steal and borrow the money to put it in there. But the reason you don't is because you don't know what's working, what's not working. So during that phase, we have to do a lot of test and measuring. Okay, so we test it. Does it work? No, stop it, start something else. So we're not putting lots and lots of money into our marketing until we're really clear what we're trying to get. And we've got a track record of it actually working. This is why I struggle a little bit with people that come and say, I want to do radio advertising, or I want to do big budget advertising spends. Because if you do that, it's very, how are you going to test and measure it? Because you've got to do it. You're either in it or you're not in it. So are you willing to risk the £2,000, £3,000, £5,000 in order to get some form of measurement back? And I know we were on a call with our group the other week, and Ranjit's doing a billboard. And I asked him how much he's paying for it. And he said nothing, because it's his cousin that owns the billboard. So it's like, fantastic. Yeah, he's got a great way to test and measure whether billboard advertising works. It's not going to cost him much apart from a big poster, and he can measure it. But even with Facebook, social media, test it first. See what you get. Put little amounts in, and then if you find something's working, then you chuck as much money as you can. As the guy was talking about, one of his friends advertises on Snapchat. I don't use Snapchat. I don't really understand it, but he advertises on Snapchat. He's spending £40,000 a day on advertising on Snapchat. Okay, so he's paying more than most people get paid in a year per day on Snapchat advertising. Now he hasn't done that on the basis of, I'll just chuck £40,000 a day at it. He's spent the last year, 2 years testing it, measuring it, refining it, making it work, and then now he's in a position where he can just chuck money at it. And he knows that if I spend £40,000 a day, I make £100,000 tomorrow. Okay, that's and it, guys, it is really scary when you start talking to people that are doing this big scale, how much people are spending on advertising and marketing. To get into, I've found out today that on YouTube, if you want to be one of the top investors, sort of advertisers on YouTube, you need to be spending £50,000 a month on YouTube advertising alone. Okay, so the key is if you're going to be marketing on these platforms against businesses that have got that amount of money to spend in marketing, that's the level you're going to have to compete at. And that's why some platforms are just not going to work for you, because it's too noisy, there's too many people in there buying up leads. So what we've got to do is we've got to be very, very niche, very specific and targeted, so we're not competing directly with these people that just have got big budgets. Okay, and I'll come back to that in a bit. So, is the reason we're not marketing as well as we should be, is it a time, money, or skills? Whichever one it is, we've got to have a strategy to actually improve those and get better and do it more. So the next belief you've got to really get over is you are not your client. Okay, your client does not think like you, act like you, behave like you, buy like you, and therefore you are absolutely rubbish at generating adverts that appeal to your customer. Okay, if you start that as a default point, then you can only improve. Too many people I see, certainly, and the more technically minded you are, the more likely you're to make this mistake, as you advertise as you would take information. It's far too technical, it's far too focused on what you want rather than in the eye of the actual customer. Okay, so you've got to take yourself out of your business, put yourself into the shoes of your customer, and try and think like they do. Big businesses, the big ones, the way they do this is focus groups. They actually get their customers in and talk to them and get them to tell them what they would like to buy and how they like to buy. Okay, you could survey your customers. You actually talk to them, interview them, find out what made them buy in the first place. Well, what ads did you like? How did you come in and buy from us? And what did you see? What engaged you? As soon as you start thinking you know what your customer is thinking, then you're probably doing it wrong, and you've got to stop and go back and ask. Okay, so really think about from there, put yourself into their shoes. And the first place really to start with this, and this is where we get into a bit of psychology, is everybody that buys from you wants or needs something. Okay, there is something missing in their life that you are going to provide a solution to. And people are motivated to buy and make change based on the fact that, are they moving away from something? So there's a need, a move towards a pleasure, or they're doing it for somebody else. Okay, these are the only three motivators for people. I'm moving away from something, so something's painful and I want it fixed. I want to move towards something, it's a pleasurable thing, and there's a purpose. So going back to Nick's point, say, when he said, I want to market to everybody. Not everybody means that you can have some people that have got a pain problem, some people have got a want and desire problem, and some people have got a purpose problem. So therefore, if you try and market to everybody, you're marketing to nobody, because your message is going to be very difficult to actually focus on all these three things at once. So as we move into this, and I'll probably come back to this let me just see where we cover this. Okay, yeah, I'm going to cover this in a minute, so I'll come back to this about our targeting, and we'll deal with it then. So put yourself in their shoes. So Jan, think about your clients. Which one of these are they predominantly makes them buy from you?
Moving away from pain, for sure.
Okay, and what would that pain be? What pain are they in?
that pain would be excruciating pain of not being able to get their garments, items, basically promises which haven't been delivered. Kevin, we've got these, we can do it at a certain price, you'll have it within a certain time frame, and just broken promises.
Okay.
They want their garments quickly and they want them at the right price.
So there'll be a selection of your prospects that are already bought. So this particular target is somebody's already buying their product from somebody else.
Yeah.
And they are fed up with X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically they will have a resistance to change. So if we look at now back to our formula for change here, so they've got a resistance to change. Now, what would be some of the resistances to change from where they are to you?
Because it's new, it's an unknown.
Yep. Better the devil, there was a thing on the banks this morning, that the average, I think, well, the average time somebody spends with a bank is longer than the average marriage.
Yeah.
So we're more likely to stay with our bank than we are with our partner.
Yeah, and also price. I had an example yesterday. A client who's got really good prices, really they needed a price increase, contacted us and said, we want them, but we want them for cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, look, actually, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to have to put your prices up, explain the reasons why. Okay, well, I've seen a similar garment. He said the same garment. It turns out it wasn't the same garment. And it was a little one-man band selling items out of his garage. And regardless of the quality potentially not being there, he decided to go, and he said, his words, I'm going to give it one crack of the whip. He says, they might not be up to standard, but ultimately, it's worth it from a money point of view. But ultimately, I can't be driven down any further at this point. My prices up.
So this is, again, if you start to understand, and it does, because all clients are thinking differently. They're all, you might be able to put them into a certain pot, but even in that pot, they're going to be thinking differently. And this is the balance between science and art with marketing. Is there's an art to it that you're trying to get it just to be right, so it fits as many people as possible. Mm-hmm. But if we can narrow it down, it does make our life easier. So people like this have got a resistance that, well, I've been with these people a long time. They might be crap, but at least it's crap I know. And eventually they do deliver, and it's a pain in the arse to change. And I'd have to do this and do this, and I can't be bothered. It's not the most important thing in my life. Okay, so everybody has a resistance to stay as they are rather than come to you. So you've got to understand what that resistance could be, and then over this side of the formula, we've got to build up the dissatisfaction and vision, and then be clear what the first steps would be. So if we know that these people are getting pain, and they've got a little bit of pain, our job is to make in our marketing the pain even bigger. Because the more pain somebody's in, the more likely they're going to change. Yeah. So Dan, if you've got a sore thumb, yeah. Well, it's probably an easy one. Let's say you've got a mild toothache. Okay, so it's a bit off and on. It comes every now and then. What would you do?
I'd go to the dentist.
If it was mild pain, would you go straight to the dentist?
Very low pain threshold.
Have you? Okay. Probably weren't the best person to pick on. But so, most people would put up with a little bit of inconvenience, wouldn't they? But if that pain got bigger and bigger, then you'd overcome that resistance to go to the dentist and book it. And that's what we want to think in our marketing. If it's a pain-driven decision, then everything in our marketing has got to be around pushing on those pain buttons. Okay, keep pushing until they go, ouch, oh yeah, you reminded me. Because a lot of us don't really, we blank it out. We don't really realize what that pain is going to be. So Sabrina, it's an interesting one for you, because if you looked at your client base, and if I'm going to go to the end user here, not the middle people, but the consumer, are the consumers driven by pain to buy from you?
No.
No.
No, theirs is much more desire, or what do they call it? A spot purchase, because they've seen it looks nice.
Yeah. So Sabrina sells trees, online to people with nice gardens. So very few people are going to be in pain because they don't have a tree in their garden. Okay, so there's no point in Sabrina's marketing being around finding the pain. It should all be towards the pleasure. Okay, it should be about how your garden's going to feel, look, how you're going to feel when you've got these trees in place. What are the benefits of having trees in your garden? It's all going to be positive driven stuff. Now, my experience has said getting people to overcome a resistance towards something is generally harder than getting somebody with resistance for pain. So if you've got a business that solves the pain, then really focus on the pain. If you've got because it's going to be easier than you trying to paint a picture of what life will be like. So if Dan's in mild discomfort with his teeth, if I say, well, you'll have a wonderful smile and, it'll be fantastic when your teeth are done, it's not really going to sort of make him change. If I could actually get and poke his teeth and make him see how bad his teeth are, then he's more likely to react and do something about it. The purpose one is even harder then, okay, because this is it's not about your individual gratification and you're in pain. It's all about other people. Okay, now, Curly, for you, who's your client?
Mostly children, or like dancers.
Who pays the bill?
The parents.
So who's your client?
The parents.
Okay, so you've got two clients.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you've got a client here. It's not a pain thing that people want to do dancing, is it?
No.
It's a want towards pleasure. So the child wants to move towards pleasure. The buying decision is made by the parent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you've got to work on these two to overcome that resistance. The kid might want, all the time, but if the parent's not on board, then you're not going to get the sale. So this one could be, marketing around the parents' sort of inbuilt desire to keep their kids happy.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So again, sometimes your client isn't your client.
Yeah.
Okay. And your marketing is to the person who actually makes the buying decision and pays the bill, not necessarily the person that comes to you in the first place or is going to be using your service.
So it doesn't have to just be about the people who are coming into the studios.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. So that's a big mistake a lot of people make. They say, "Oh, look, my adverts are really great for children," yeah, but it's not the children that are going to buy it. So if you look at, so Christmas is a great time to look at this when you see toys being sold. Yes, a lot of it is about, in a way, subliminally, do you want your kids to be miserable or happy? Because they know that the parent is going to be buying the toy, not the child. And the other thing is when they show they do want the kids to be sort of shouting about it, but the really good ones are actually got parents in there with really happy children. So it's, you know, do you care about your kids enough to actually give them our little plastic toy? Okay, so
for us, would that also apply to, like, if we go out to schools and do like other like after school activities there, would that apply to them as an extra client?
Yep.
Okay.
So the marketing is about how does the school feel, how does the headmaster feel, not as much about the kids. Okay, so you've got to think about who's the buy-in, what's their resistance, what's the vision of their life, yeah, once they've bought from you. So with the schools, you know, if it helps them with their Ofsted rating, if it helps them with their student retention, if it helps them with their discipline, if it helps them with, you know, ticking a box and making them look better, yeah, then they're much more likely to do something than just saying that we're going to keep your kids fit and active. Okay, it's got to be relevant to the person that's actually going to buy. So, any questions on that? All clear? Good. So now we've got to sort of think about what are we going to do. So how do we actually plan to get this thing done? And for me, this is about creating your marketing plan. Okay, if you can plan it out, then it's going to be much easier for you to actually implement this going forwards, rather than just saying, I'm going to do some social media marketing. Okay, well, plan it first, go through this process, work the goals and the numbers, and then start thinking about what we need to work on. So the three most common parts in a marketing plan, marketing campaign, yeah, number one is we have to identify our target. Then you've got to identify what we're going to offer them. And then we put the copy together. Now, for those that don't, so new to this, copy is the old term of copywriting, because in the old days, the only adverts you could do were paper adverts. So it was very much a copywriting thing. In today's world, think of copy as the medium in which we get the message across. So the copy would be the words and the pictures in Instagram. It would be, the copy would be LinkedIn. The copy would be Facebook. The copy would be a flyer. The copy would be a billboard. Okay, it's how we get the message across. So if we were to look at these and rate them out of 10, we would always rate target as being the most important. 10 out of 10. Okay, if you do any marketing that hasn't got clarity with a target, then you really shouldn't be doing it. Once you've got the target, you then look at the offer. My mouse has gone too lally. My mouse gone. Ooh, what's my mouse? Then you look at the offer, and that's sort of 5 out of 10 of importance. And the least important is actually the advert and the words that we use. Okay, now it still needs to be good, but the amount of time you spend in your marketing campaign, the most amount of time should be on the target, and then the offer, the least amount of time should be on the copy. If you do these bits right, this bit's easy. If you're spending lots of time doing adverts and trying to work out what should be in it, then generally it's because you haven't done these two correctly. Okay, and I've got an example a bit later on that will help us with that. So how do we identify our targets? So Nick, I said I was going to pick on you, didn't I? So let's look. Who are your A-grade clients? So Nick runs an electrical contracting business, so fixes sparky things.
Yeah.
So
an A-grade client for us would be someone who runs their own business, has a big house, has a nice driver with a set of electric gates, or looking to get a set of electric gates, and drives a Tesla. That would be an A-grade client.
Okay. Okay. Great.
Because you get the electrical work at their building, electric gates,
Yep.
vehicle chargers.
So electric gates, vehicle chargers, and have a business where they'll have needs within that. Okay, so you've answered why are they A grade, because they're using a lot of your potential services. So that's nice and clear. Yeah. So we've then got to say, yeah, what is their problem? Yeah, and where can we find them? So what is their problem, and do they know they have a problem? Because if they don't have a problem and there's no vision, then they're unlikely to respond to any marketing. Okay, so for all of you to go through this process as well. As I'm going through with Nick, think about, you know, who's an A grade client for you, what makes them A grade. Before they came to you, what was their problem? What were they thinking? Yeah. And did they know they had a problem? And what was it that actually makes them suddenly go, oh, actually, yeah, I could do with doing that. And then the key is, where do I find them? Where would I find more of these people?
Sorry, I wasn't being rude. My phone went off and it just started ringing through my headphones and I couldn't hear you.
So these Tesla driving, high net worth individuals, what's their problem?
I don't know, they haven't got someone who can look after all of it. They're using 4 different people to cover all the different areas.
Is that really their problem? Does that keep them up at night? Does it?
No, probably not.
No.
Would you not say that the problem, Nick, is kind of like that? If that was me, I'm trying to put myself in their shoes, and if I was a high net worth individual that was looking for your product, it would be ultimately convenience. I wouldn't want to get out my brand new Tesla and have to unlock my gates manually and open them. So it would be convenience to save me time. But ultimately that convenience as a woman, particularly on dark nights, would come down to security.
Yeah.
Mind.
Good point.
Yeah, and then I suppose when you look at it like that, you break down the problems on each one. So the problem would be not having somewhere to charge your new car, or worrying that you might not be able to charge.
I think again, yeah, and this is why talking about it is really key, because if you think about it, if I owned a Tesla, okay, in my nice swanky house, yeah, would I have an electric charging point?
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't not have a charging point in my, if I bought a Tesla. You get your charging point before the car arrives.
Yeah.
Because you don't want your car and then say, oh shit, what do I do?
I still haven't got mine at home yet though.
So, well, that's cobbler shoes, that is, isn't it?
Yeah,
So the electrician who's got an electric car and no charging point at home. But the majority of us, certainly the people I know, before the car arrived, had the charging point installed.
Yeah.
Now, there will be a group of people that have bought a Tesla, bought an electric car, and are now researching which charging station to have.
Yeah.
So there's a target market. People who have ordered their car, about to order their car,
don't know which charger to go for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there'll be a group of people that are going, oh, which charger should I go for? I know when I looked, I was Googling it and trying to work out which one, and everyone's got advantages and disadvantages. It's like, oh God, So those people that are a bit unsure would be a good target. Unsure about which charger is the best, speak to us.
Yeah.
I go back to the gates thing. I like sort of Jan's point there that actually the gates thing, sort of blokes probably aren't that bothered about getting out and, opening gates manually. but the security and and to target the females with, wouldn't it be great if you could just open your gates, the security benefits, the the safety benefits, all those things.
Yeah.
Because those are things that I've not really thought about. It's not that much, but actually, if I think about it, yeah, God, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
So, were you going to say something, Jan, or was that who?
That was me. I was just wondering, like, how was the best way for me to like apply this to my work? Because like we're posting the classes that we like, pictures of the classes we offer on social media. We've got all of them like offered on our website as well. Like, how can I make that better in this kind of like identifying my target sense?
Okay. So let's work on it then. So give me an A grade client. So who's a brilliant client for you?
Kids that want to learn cheerleading or breakdance.
Okay, so who's your client?
Or the parents, but the parents aren't going to the class.
No, but they're the client.
Okay.
So who's a great client?
A parent that's wanting their kids to come to dance classes.
What? That doesn't sound like an A grade client. That just sounds like an average client.
Okay, it was wanting their kid to come to more than one class.
Okay, more than one class. Gary?
One of those parents who never achieved as a kid and wants to force that upon their kids to get gold medals, Olympic championships and all that stuff. One of them force their kids into doing something they might not necessarily want to do, but they do it anyway.
Well, I'm not really sure about that. I haven't met anyone like that.
Is that something that happened in your childhood, Gary? Did you want to be a dancer and you were never allowed to be a dancer?
No, not really. But I've seen it with parents that just never did anything for themselves, so they push that onto their children to sort of make them overachieve. Yeah.
Okay, so rather than because you're bringing in some negatives there, which I think is what you can't make kids do. You can make kids do things they don't want to do for a short period of time, but not a long period of time. So think about the parent. What benefit do they get about having their kids at your dance schools?
They're healthier, they're a lot happier, they're enjoying, they're meeting more people. It's like broadening their range. I, as a previous dancer, know that it made me feel so much happier. Like, I didn't enjoy school, and it was a different way for me to get out of that environment so that I can make friends. If we're talking about a kind of situation where they're feeling like they're pressured into it, they could actually really enjoy it, and it could take them out of a situation that could be a negative at home.
Great. So now you're starting to think about the positives, the wants, that do you want your child to have all of these fantastic things?
So it gives the parents an hour away from their kids as well.
Excellent, Megan. Well done. Yeah, the more time they spend in dance classes, the more time they have to themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, you put yourselves, and that ideal parent is the parent that's got 1,000,001 other things to do, and wants their kid in a class all the time because they want to go and do lots of other things. And what in addition to that, what would make an even better client?
A parent with lots of kids.
Parent, lots of kids. So what would be the benefit of a dance class if I've got 3 kids?
well, for us, it would be hopefully that their kids would come to classes and enjoy the time that they have here. And if it's in that kind of situation that you're talking about, the parent gets the free time that they want.
Yep.
Can the kids all come at the same time?
Sometimes. Currently, we have limited capacity because of the COVID restrictions, but if they're at different age ranges, they might be at different times. So it depends.
But that to me, that would be a really good benefit if I could drop the 3 kids, because my 3 kids are all going to be different ages generally. There will be twins, but the majority will be. So if you've got dance class, they can both attend the same time, would be great. Yeah. Because
and what about like if it's at like we've got 15 in a class, we've got 1 space left, and they want to drop off both kids, then we'd lose the client then because we don't have enough space for them.
But that comes back to what are you marketing? If you're marketing for 1 space in 1 class, you wouldn't use this marketing strategy for that, would you? So if I was marketing for 1 space in 1 class, it would be a different strategy. It would be something a little bit more specific where I would just get 1 person. Okay, this to me would be more about filling new classes, and where I want to get a bigger volume of people. Okay, that's why. So for all of us, we've got to be thinking, what do I want as a result? What's my goal? That then drives the marketing strategy. If I want 1 person, right, I've got a very clear strategy that brings in 1 person for that 1 class. Okay, so Nick, so if we go back to to that point, then the question then is, okay, so where do I find these people?
To be honest, the where is probably easier to locate than some of the others, because you look for the big houses.
Yeah, because if you think, electric cars are still quite expensive. Yeah, so it's going to be more affluent areas that are going to have it. You have to have off-road parking, so you're going to have a drive, which means you're more likely to have a drive that needs a gate. Yeah, so you target those areas with that strategy. Thinking about and if you add in the fact that it's only 1% benefit in kind this year, you put that in, you're going to pick up those business owners that are thinking, well, actually, I've been thinking about it, but you've just reminded me I need to go and sort my electric car out. Oh, and by the way, we'll do this, and then we can do your gates as well.
Yeah. Well, in theory, the sign writing on the Tesla should market itself. It would certainly draw the attention to it. But yeah, I definitely think I should say about the benefit in kind tax, because like you said, that is going to really engage the business owners, isn't it?
Yeah. A lot of people still don't know that that's the case.
Yeah.
It was mentioned it the other day and said, oh, does it? Oh, no tax on an electric car, blimey.
Yeah.
And you've got another 2 years of that. I mean, you've got 2% this year and 3%, or 1% this year and 2% next year or something. So you've got a 2-year window where people are still going to be thinking about it. Okay, so this does take time. You have to think about it. You have to, and you won't be just 1 target. You'll have multiple targets. So you take a target. What are they thinking? What's their problems? Where do I find them? If you've got one that is really difficult to find, okay, park it. Find one that's easier to find. Don't start with a low-hanging fruit. Don't start with the hardest thing. Okay, so work through that. So this is a good little book, Marcus Sheridan. We've actually got him speaking at the BizX event next week. So, you know, it's definitely a book I would recommend. Really is a good one on content marketing and social media. And from that, his sort of big 5 questions that people are thinking is, you know, what is the price and cost of what you do? Now, there's always a bit of an issue here for most of us, is we don't want to put our prices and costs out there. Okay, what's the main reason?
Because the competitors know what you're doing.
Because your competitors know what you're doing. Okay, and that's, you know, you could argue that, but in most cases, you know, the competitors know what they charge anyway. If they wanted to know what your prices are, they could probably find out. So does it really matter? And if we understand that, you know, price is only a part of the buying decision, people will pay more if they believe the service and the value that they get is higher. But there's certainly some things that, you know, you can lead with price and certainly be asking their questions. You know, why is, you know, electric charging so expensive? Okay, these are the reasons why. So it gives you the chance that if you're in a particularly price sensitive area, then you should be talking about price, because people are looking for that information. Other problems and what goes wrong. Okay, so none of us are going to be 100% accurate all the time and get it right all the time. So we can start talking about what are the problems. Yeah. So they call it the elephant in the room. You know, what are people sort of afraid to talk about? So if you're going to buy something from Amazon that had 4.5 stars, yeah, what's one of the things that you do before you buy that product?
Look at the 1-star reviews and decide why people didn't like it.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to see, okay, so it's not perfect, so I want to see why it's not perfect. Can I live with that? Was the question answered? Okay, so if you've got issues around something, then that's what you should be talking about. Okay, you should be answering those questions. How does your product compare to competitors? So you could go here, and that's what they're good at. You know, there's no point in slagging off a competitor. This doesn't do anybody. No one likes anybody that does that. But if you talk openly, honestly about, you know, the strengths and weaknesses of their products and services and your products and services, then people are going to sort of buy into the fact that you are unbiased and you're thinking from their perspective. You know, you're on their side. You're not just trying to say everyone else is rubbish and I'm brilliant, therefore you must come to me. And, you know, what do customers think about your work? Reviews. You know, reviews is a really good thing. The more reviews you can get out there, the better. Okay, and reviews also help you understand what is important to your clients. You know, they'll talk about it and write it down, and that's what you can learn from as well. So never be scared of feedback. It's really, really important. If you want to, you know, who are your best competitors? Okay, so if you do have competitors, then yeah, talk about them. Yeah, so these guys do this really well. Okay, because it's, and we've all, I think everyone, you know, has had it at some stage where if you can't help somebody, yeah, if you can recommend, well, I can't really help you, but go here, yeah, often that comes back to you in spades later on. Yeah, if you're completely honest and don't try and sell something that's not right for them, but help them, then the kudos comes back in some shape or form. They'll either refer or they'll actually come. You know that I came to you last year. You said I should have gone to these people. I went to those people, but now I need this. Okay, it really does help bring people back in. So really think about, these are all the questions that your customers are asking. They're thinking about when they do their research, because the big thing in today's world compared to old marketing, in the old days, you had a captive audience. There wasn't much choice. Most customers weren't educated that particular well. They had lots of time and there wasn't much noise in the marketplace. In today's world, audiences are much more transient. There's loads of choice. They've almost got too much information. They don't have much time. Okay, so you have to stand out from the crowd. You have to be different. Okay, you've got to be the person that is the educator, that's helping people to make better decisions, because they are looking. If you think about the last thing, so Megan, what was the last sort of reasonable purchase you made?
Sorry, what do you mean by reasonable?
So something that was that you had to think about, so quite costly.
Like a personal?
Yeah.
It
wasn't as spontaneous, I just went out and liked it and bought it.
I bought some clothes the other week, stuff that I needed, and made sure that it went with stuff I already had, that it wasn't just a sparkly top, stuff I had to really,
Okay.
Clothes doesn't sound like something you think about, but yeah.
So how much research did you put in before you bought those clothes?
Well, I sort of built together an idea of stuff that I needed. I only kind of went on one site because I trust them more than others, and they have quite a large range.
Yeah.
Really looked at what would suit me, what would fit me the best.
Okay.
And
so you went to one site because you've already got the trust. Yeah, but how much time did you spend thinking about it? And sort of going through the process of buying?
In terms of like when I decided I needed to buy some new pieces, to actually buying them, probably about a week.
Okay.
And actually selecting them, probably a good half an hour.
Yeah. So a week thinking about it and selecting half an hour. So, and that was, for a top, just some clothes.
Yeah, just sort of general like work and everyday.
Yeah. So I know Nick, you bought a Tesla, didn't you? How much time did you spend?
Not long, I was in a pulse. No, it wasn't. I spent an awful long time. I probably, in all honesty, I reckon I spent 6 to 8 months making that decision.
Yeah.
Maybe even longer. Okay,
so the bigger the decision, the bigger the outlay, the more time, more effort you're likely to put into that decision. Okay, so you've got to understand that people are doing the research. They're thinking about it before they actually buy it. Okay, so in your marketing, if you want to be obviously find these people, talking to them, and then help them with that buying decision. Because if you do that, they're more likely then to actually go, oh, they were really helpful. Therefore, I've now built a bit of loyalty with them, a bit of communication with them, and even if I can buy it cheap as somebody else, actually now I know, like, and trust you, I'm probably more likely to buy it from you. Okay, but you've got to stand out, because if there's loads and loads of noise, If you're just saying the same thing everyone else is saying, then it'll get overlooked. You need to stand out, you know, sometimes be a bit controversial. Okay, do something that actually gets people's, you know, grabs people's attention, and I'll show you a bit more about that later. So we've got to really understand our target audience, you know, what are they thinking and who they are before we get even involved in any sort of marketing. We haven't talked about how we're going to communicate to them. We just need to know where they are, what are they thinking, yeah, what type are they, what problems they have, and then we can start thinking of how we actually help them. So that moves us into our offer. So what do we need to offer them in order to get them on board? Okay, so, you know, and this is really about our unique selling proposition, our USP or our guarantee. So what is it about us that is different? And another good book on this is what makes you different is your story. You know, it's your history, it's who you are, what you stand for. A lot of people now, because they're spending more time researching, want to know about the business they're buying from. So Kaylee, that company you bought your, sorry, it was Megan, was it? The company you bought the clothes from, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you bought into their story, who they are, that sort of thing? Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
They offer like a really good member scheme, and I know that I'm not going to get ripped off. Like they're sort of reasonably priced.
Yeah.
But they also have like really good morals as well. Like, you know, some clothing stores are like as part of the fast fashion industry, which I'm really not keen of. Whereas it was H&M I bought them from, and they have like a whole range called Conscious. So they, you know, they make sure that it's like sustainable and things like that. And I just rather.
So there's a good thing about you bought into the story to build the trust and the relationship so that you're going to buy from somebody. Okay, so your USP, your uniqueness is around your story, who you are, what you stand for, because I can buy most products that we all sell, I can buy anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, but if I buy it from somebody I know, like, and trust, then I'm more likely to buy it from them and stay with you as well.
Yeah.
Okay, and as we talked before, our resistance to change, our story reduces that resistance. It gives us confidence to buy from somebody. And when you come onto the sales training, I'll talk about trust, need, help, and hurry. And this is where the transition from marketing to sales comes in, is we're building trust, which is what we need when we actually come to actually convert them into a sale. At the moment, we're just trying to get people to inquire to us and engage with us. We're even thinking about the sale at this stage. We're just at that first stage is, look, let's have a discussion about what is it you want, how we can help you. And you know, USPs have got to be quite specific. You know, it's got to be about you. They're not vague, you know, not like we really care, we are the best, locally owned and operated, you know, friendly service. These are not unique. It's almost a case of, look, if I didn't do this, then I shouldn't be in business at all. Okay, so it's got to be really sort of clear about, you know, what is it that you actually do. So, and, you know, we can have different categories, you know, it could be around price. So give me a company that has price as their USP. So Sabrina? Little Aldi, you know, they've even as Asda, you know, was all based on, it was very much a price USP. Now you can do that, but you have to be the cheapest. Okay, and it's not one I would recommend unless you've got a really, again, differentiated strategy to actually be the cheapest. The reason Aldi and Lidl could be cheaper is because they didn't stop mainstream brands. You know, and now you've got Tesco's and the others sort of saying, well, look, you can buy, you you know, you can buy our brands at the same price, but I think they're missing the point is, you know, they can never be as cheap as Aldi because their stuff is all branded. And people that shop at Aldi are quite happy to have some form, you know, strange form of German, you know, sausage, you know, that they've never heard of. So it can be, you know, there's 20 odd here. It can be a number of things that your USP is really built around. But you've got to put the time in to think about what is it about us. Certainly if you're in a competitive market, you know, like Jan, you know, there's a lot of people doing what you do. There's got to be something really clear that we do differently, we do better, you know, that makes people. And the key to a USP, it should put people off buying from you. There are some people that you should look at it and go, actually, I don't want to buy from you.
So can I just make a quick point? So I almost shy away from my USP at the moment, which my USP is the fact that I am not a white label catalogue. The majority of my competitors are a white label business. Yeah. And because I'm not a white label business, it's really true that actually I've got a bigger choice. I'm more consultative. I am an extension of their business, but I'm not for somebody who is prepared just to go online and do their own browsing and choose the first fruit of the loom t-shirt that comes up. But I feel like because I'm potentially going to miss out on the majority chunk of the market, I shy away from my own USP.
And I think that's the key is if it really is a USP, then it will turn people off, and you've got to be prepared for that.
But is that a good thing, would you say?
I in today's world, I think it is, as long as the market you're appealing to is big enough.
Which I think it is.
If you niche yourself too much and you end up with a tiny market that you can't build your brand, then I'd say you're probably not picking on the right USP.
Okay.
The only thing from what you said there was a lot of what you said was about you. It wasn't about me, the customer. It wasn't about my benefits. So that's where I'd probably go a bit deeper to understand as that ideal customer, yeah, why is it I don't just want off the peg fruit of the loom with a logo on it. Now, having done this in the past, you know, where we had it was the stuff that we bought on a cheap price, off the peg, etc., was fucking useless within 3 washes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the colours faded, all the t-shirts shrank, and no one wore it because it was all just, you know, it was basically, well, we'll sell you a t-shirt with a logo, but it was just rubbish stuff that they were selling. So with that sort of side of things, you know, it's you know, again, it's important, you know, logoed stuff is, look, we want our staff to be wearing this day in, day out, feel good about wearing it, not feel like it's a burden, not feel like it's, you know, going to make them feel bad. You know, I'd want to wear Ralph Lauren logoed stuff.
Okay, thank you.
It's almost like that because your staff are worth it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't tell my staff that.
But Nick, you never want to pay the money, do you?
No.
Unless it says Tesla.
So then you move into, so that's the USP. Guarantees are generally for service-based businesses. So if you supply a product, yeah, you can have a unique selling proposition around the product. If it's a service, then sometimes it's easier to think about a guarantee. So you guarantee the quality of service that you deliver. So a nice easy one for this is our 7-point guarantee. And those 7 points are all about the fears that I might have about changing my supplier. So I've been working with Rob Price. I don't know if you've heard it on his BNI sort of 60 seconds. He said, you know, and we went through this process with him, and we said, if I can't make you savings, yeah, in the process, if my processes don't make you savings, I will give you your money back, 100% guarantee. And he went, the first time I said that to him, you know, he went, I can't do that. I can't give the money back if, you know, because this could be 50 grand that somebody spent on systems. I can't give them the money back if the systems don't make them savings. I said, well, you don't believe in your product then. If your product is that good and you go through the process up front to ensure that you only work with people where you 100% can be sure you're going to make a saving, yeah, then don't do it. But you do, and if you came to somebody and they said, look, you know, you've done all of this, but it's not quite giving them the savings, I said, what would you do? He said, well, I would fix it. And you charge for it? No, I'd fix it for free. Well, then your guarantee's in place. Because if you've got a good relationship with somebody, you know, they're never going to call you on the guarantee. And if they do, you'll fix it anyway. So believe in your product, believe in your service enough where you can, and don't put guarantees where they've got clauses where if you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. Yeah, people see through that. You know, believe in your guarantee and then put it out there. Okay, so your offer. So we just go back to the offer. So the offer's got to be around what makes you unique, but we're also thinking here about how do I get somebody across the line? Okay, how do I actually make somebody buy from me at that point in time? And I'm going to do a bit shorter time. I'm going to deal with it when we do the advertising bit. Let me come back to that in a minute. So then once we know what our offer is, so what makes us different, how do we get to the market, then we can start thinking about what is our best route to market. So if we take you, Nick, with, you know, these high net worth individuals, we know where they are. Yeah, they're in nice houses, let's say in Winchester. Yeah. Then we say, right, what is our best route to actually get hold of them?
Direct mail.
Direct mail. You know where they live, you know the areas they are, you know the addresses. So let's communicate with them directly. You know, yes, we could do social media, we could do Instagram and things like that. And yes, there is some element of direct, but we don't know if they use those mediums. We don't know if they're on there. If we know exactly where they are, you know, then let's go directly to them. Drive up and down their street in the morning at 8 o'clock in the morning in your nice car. Okay, so sometimes if we're really clear who we're after, then our marketing it's become so simple. You know, just write a letter, do a flyer, post it through the door. If we don't know where they are, okay, and we're not that clear, then we need to think of other strategies to actually work on. But think of each of these strategies as a plate that you need to get spinning. So you get the plate, you start it spinning, you move on to the next one. You know, don't have too many plates spinning at one time. So don't be doing TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and emails at the same time. Because you won't do any of them particularly well. Do one, get it up and running, work on it, then start the next one. Okay, but think about which one is going to get you the best return on investment in the shortest possible time and focus on that one first. Okay, you try to do too much too soon and you know you'll achieve nothing. You'll just get yourself busy. And also sometimes you won't even know where the leads come from. Okay, because you've got to measure where they come from. So once we know our target and we know the method we're going to actually communicate on, then we can start thinking about our actual advertising. What does our advert look like? So this is a real key one. It comes from a guy called John Caples, who's written one of the best books on marketing called Tested Advertising Methods. And he calls it the ADA principle. Okay, so every advert you come across must follow this. It must grab somebody's attention, create some interest and desire. So the interest and desire, remember about the dissatisfaction and vision in the resistance to change, you know, the emotion, why people want to buy. And then there must be a clear call to action of what you want them to do next. Okay, if you fail to do this, any of these, then you're going to limit the reaction for your piece of marketing. Okay. So I might be picking on Gary in a minute. So Gary did a flyer, okay, which we
oh no,
which
we got a break.
we did some critique. Have you updated it, Gary, or is it are you waiting for today before you update it?
Well, annoyingly, I had pushed send and it had actually gone off to print. So I've got to go collect 500 flyers that I'm just going to literally put in a bin. Thanks.
That's all right.
Tomorrow is admin day and I'll get the designer guy to sort of tweak.
Okay. So we'll work on how to tweak this advert then. Okay. So attention. Up the attention, create some interest, desire, action, and this is a little advert that I use to explain this. Okay, this one was done. It's quite old now. This was pre-internet. This was when you could only market in magazines and papers. This one went into I think it was the Daily Mail, one of their colour supplements. It took about 9 months to create. So it was 9 months of testing and measuring, changing things, adding to it, improving it. Yeah, and this was in those days where it would take probably a few weeks before you got any results back. Nowadays we can do this a lot quicker. But there was a team of 5 people on this as well. Okay, so 5 people took 9 months to develop this advert. This advert brought in millions and millions of pounds worth of work. Okay, so they tested and measured it, and they know it worked. Okay, and it won many awards for advertising. So if we look at the way this works is, and it doesn't matter whether you're doing this on TikTok, social media, anything, the same principles are going to apply. The ad will look differently because you're limited on space and things like that. But the principles, the process you go through and think about is exactly the same. So the first thing is it needs to grab people's attention. So if you imagine you're in a magazine, you're flicking it through, where do you look predominantly when you're reading? What's the first thing that you look at? I'm flicking through, what am I looking at?
Headlines.
Headlines. Okay, we're trained from an early age of newspapers and magazines to look at, basically at the top, this bit here. Okay, so the attention, what grabs our attention? A really good headline and a picture. So this part we call above the fold. So in the old days of marketing, you'd get a letter that comes through. So if you imagine a little letter like this, and it was folded over. Above the fold is the first bit that you see. This is the most expensive and most effective part of real estate in any advert. So this should be hit with what is your client's problem? What is going to appeal to them? What do they not want to see, Gary?
Your company name in big across the front.
They have no idea who you are. They don't care about who you are. Yeah, and who you are is irrelevant in their life.
That's right.
Okay. So the only person it's relevant to is you and your mum. So this is really, this has got to be a statement. There's something that is going to grab their attention, and ultimately it should be what we call an open statement. It wants to draw you in to read more. Okay, so it's drawing you. At last, my agony is over. Oh, that's interesting. Tell me more about that. Now, who's this targeted to?
Is it middle-aged people, middle-aged women with back pains or something like that?
Middle-aged people, yeah. So when it comes to buying a new bed, who's the decision maker?
The woman.
The woman. Who pays for it?
The woman.
Okay, so a lot of people would think it was, would be the man. And the other thing is, who, population-wise, demographically, who has the most back issues?
Like,
I don't know.
I don't know. Builder men?
I would say it was women from probably maybe childbirth. I don't know.
Okay.
I'd say just the older demographic of people.
Yeah.
Older demographic of people. It's probably around about 50-50, slightly more biased towards men that have back problems. Okay, so there's a couple of reasons why we have a woman on the bed here. One, as Sabina said, the buying decision of a new bed is a female. Okay, if I'm a female, with a partner who's got a bad back, yeah, what does this statement here say? At last, my agony is over. I've suffered terribly for over 5 years, but thanks to Temper Mattress, it's just fading memory now. What's this also opening us up for? If I don't have a bad back, what's my agony?
Purpose. When you do it for someone else.
Your husband whinging about his bad back.
Yeah. My partner who's whinging about their bad back all the time. They're snoring, they're, whatever it is that's annoying me. So it doesn't say in here, my back problem. Okay, it says my agony is over. So it's not specifically targeting people with bad backs. It's, look, have you got a problem around sleep? Whatever that might be, it's nice and open. Okay, it's niche down, but not too niche where it's only people with bad backs. Okay, in the detail, it does go into that. It goes into slip discs and things like that, but grabbing people's attention is about grabbing as many people as I can without narrowing it down too far too soon. Then we've got to grab some interest. So, quotes always work nicely because what other people say about your product is the truth. What you say is a lie. Some good copy so it draws me in. So if you've got the space, use some space, okay, but not too much. You can see it's nicely balanced here. It's not too wordy. I can read it quite quickly. And we've got an example here, so the pictures also create some interest as well. Okay, then creating the desire is, again, at this stage, we're not trying to sell a bed from this advert. Okay, this is not sales, this is marketing. What am I trying to get? What's the purpose of marketing?
Leads.
Lead generation. So I'm trying to get leads, I'm trying to get inquiries. So I'm offering free stuff. Okay, so your offer is not always an offer of buying this stuff. It's, look, just make an inquiry, find out some more information. How can I help you? It's the next step in the process. Okay, it's like pieces of, it's like breadcrumbs. Follow the breadcrumbs. The marketing is the first breadcrumb that leads you to the next bit, the next bit, the next bit. Draw them in, take them on a process. Don't try, for a lot of us, we're not, unless it's a need-based product, that I need it right now and I'm going to buy it right now. Yeah, most people, it's going to be a longer process to actually buy. It'd be like Megan, was thinking about a week before I bought it. Nick, 8 months. Okay, it's a lot of time that we can market and draw people in. So what is the what is the offer that's going to make them want to buy. Accreditation. Okay, if you've got some accreditation, I mean, it's got here 15-year, or it says limited 15-year guarantee, but because it's a stamp, it's sort of, we're built to recognise stamps as being marks of authority. The Sleep Good, Feel Good Foundation Council. I don't know who they are, but the fact there's a stamp there makes it look good. Okay, so if you people like Gary, stamps like BNI, Chamber of Commerce, bodies that you're associated to. I know Nick's whole car is covered with them. Didn't know that was that many electrical sort of things.
I've got any of them.
Haven't you?
No, none of them are on the car.
Oh, okay. It must be the van then. It must be on the back of the van.
They're on the bags. We've got okay. at least 3 of them or 4 of them.
So accreditation works, and here we've got a trial. So a piece of cheese. Try something. If you can pull them in on that, then it really does help. So a 60 night trial. So, and then a call to action. So very clear what I want you to do. Order now, phone, order your books now. And in those days was complete a coupon. Okay, but there's an electronic versions of coupon now. Send us an email, click here, register, do something, take some action. Let me know, because ideally I'm a lead. All I want is ideally an email address or a phone number. Make it easy for me to buy. And when you think about how the advert is put together, again, it's not just thrown together. There's real thought gone into the way this works. So if you think about it, headline pulls me in. People read from left to right, from top to bottom. We always leave at the bottom right-hand corner. Because if you're reading a book, that's how you read a book. Left to right, top to bottom, you leave at the bottom right-hand corner. So one of the key things here is where's the logo, Gary?
Right.
I was going to say it took me ages to even find out that, and it's just a tiny little thing in the bottom right-hand corner, almost like it's the afterthought.
It's not an afterthought. Why is it in the bottom right-hand corner?
Well, it's clever. It's at the bottom right-hand corner because that's where you end. So you've pretty much gone through it all, and then you finally got to the end bit where you're filling in details as well.
Yep. So the last thing before I leave the page is the last thing in my mind is the company. Is the logo. So if you get all that way and you don't do anything, at least I've registered that as you've gone through. Because if you've made time to look through this, then actually telling you who I am. But look, the percentage of the advert, is what, 1%, 2%? The advert is a logo. What percentage of your advert was the logo?
At least 1/3 of the front of the leaflet. The leaflet's like postcard size, so it's probably at least 1/3 the whole top banner.
And if you're doing social media, don't forget you've got less space. You've got a tiny amount of space. You can't have this writing on social media. No one could read it. Therefore, you're limited almost to a headline, a picture, and a call to action. Okay, when you move on to a landing page, so if I'm taking somebody from there onto a landing page, then you would actually have the landing page have the more detail, be more set out like this. Okay, so you've got to be thinking everything is in here for a purpose. Okay, even the way that the lady's sort of lying is diagonally pointing you down to what I want you to do. So subconsciously, I come in here, I follow her legs down here, and I end up with my call to action. As I said, 9 months, 5 people took to actually build that particular advert, which is why I use it. Here's on an email. Okay, emails are slightly different. So is an email how to attract more clients, straight in with a headline. Yeah. A picture, some simple things, and a real clear call to action. So whatever marketing we do, we're thinking that ADA process. What's going to grab the attention? What's going to pull me in to read it? How am I going to leave with a real call to action and make it easy for me to buy? Okay. And then once we've got all of that, what we've really got to think about then is, how do we measure this stuff? Okay. So whatever marketing we do, we've talked about return on investment, that we really need to what that return on investment is, but at every stage, what are our conversion rates at every single stage? What's my activity? So I need to actually put the activity out there. And we look at, you tie it to the company budget, which is the marketing. I want leading key performance indicators. So how much activity am I doing on a day-to-day basis? And then the lagging KPI is the result I get. So how many posts do I do? How many interactions do I have? How many click-throughs do I have? How many orders do I have? Each one of those has got to relate to it. And then you break it down into, its individual parts. So a company-wide, department, product, service. The more information you have on this, I mean, the guys that are spending lots of money on their marketing, have got big spreadsheets with this stuff in. Their systems are allowing you to really identify what's going on, because you're really looking for trends as well. What's the trend of this? Are we getting better? Are we getting worse? So it's really key to really know what your numbers are on your marketing. Certainly on all forms, but social media particularly, because they are generally geared that you can actually do this. And this then becomes sort of a bit of your strategy. These are the sort of 10 strategies that we're working on. Yeah, this is how much we're going to spend on each of them. This is what we're focused on. How many leads are we getting in? What's our sort of response rate, target sales, and there's our target in sales. So each one of these is set to bring in £500, because then we can measure what we actually did. So that's our target, and therefore what do we actually achieve? And the one thing you've got to understand with marketing is you will fail more times than you succeed. Okay, if you think that you get a 1 or 2% conversion rate, means you fail 99% of the time. So you've got to be prepared in marketing to fail. But when you fail, what you're looking for is, well, what did I learn by getting it wrong? What do I need to change next time in order to be better? If you get upset when you do something, it doesn't work, then marketing isn't for you. Okay, sales, you can get a bit upset about where it doesn't work, because your conversion rate in sales should be in the sort of high percentages. But in marketing, it's really low. Even Henry Ford said many years ago, 50% of my marketing's wasted. I just don't know which 50% it is. So you've got to be clear. If I'm losing money, if it's not working, I know how much I'm losing, I know why I'm losing it, and I've got to do something about it. Okay, and a really good book around this is by a guy called Peter Knight, and he came up with a highly effective marketing plan, which is really what I've taken you through today. So number one is you've got to be clear what your goals and targets are. Okay, what am I trying to achieve for my marketing? Who's my target audience? What are they currently thinking? Where are they? What do I want them to think? What's my story? What's my uniqueness? Why buy from me and not somebody else? How do I communicate to them? So what are my methods of communication? And how do I control and measure results? Okay, I've read many marketing books, and this is one I always come back to because it just sets it out so well. So Jan, when you're doing your marketing plan, those are really the 5 things you work through. That's my goal, target. And some of these you won't know. Some of these just at this stage you won't know. So guess, put something in, and then as you do this more, you'll start filling in the blanks. Okay, it does become, I wouldn't say it becomes easier, it becomes simpler. You get into the same process and go, right, I'm going to market for this, go through that process, bang, and you can start doing a marketing plan in probably about half an hour. Good. So apologies for running over there, as we did have a few technical issues at the start. So any questions on what we've covered?
Would you say there's quite a big difference between marketing to the end customer and marketing business to business?
Is there a big difference? The process is exactly the same. Okay, those 5 steps are the same. It's just that your business to business is sometimes you don't know who the buying decision is made by. Okay, but if you go through the process of who's my target, what do they want, what are they looking for, then you'll still come up with the right answer. How you market to them is the same. Is they will have a dissatisfaction or they will have a vision of the future. What will be in the advert will be different because they will want something different to the end user. But the process, this is why I teach this, is because the process is exactly the same. Doesn't matter who you're marketing to, whether it's children, whether it's adults, whether it's a business, doesn't matter. The process is exactly the same. Okay, so there's your home fun. So set your marketing goals, maybe think about some of those limiting beliefs, and then work through that sort of hemp marketing plan, those 5 key areas. So Jan, what was the top thing for you from today, and what are you going to do as a result?
Oh my God. So I don't quite know where to start. All of it. That was so good. And thank you very, very much. That was brilliant.
Good.
I would love to say, that just refreshed us on everything I knew. That was all completely new to me. And you've got a bit of a captive audience because I'm just at the right time. And it's made me really excited about putting everything together and get going with it. We spoke like one-to-one, didn't we, about like the bones and putting meat on the bone. Yeah. And to me, this is like the first step to then really start to pad it out, So just all of it, Kevin. I haven't got one thing, all of it. I'm excited to buy the books and to have even more books in my long pile of books to read. Thank you.
It's never ending. But I think that the key, obviously, we're going to sort of work on that marketing plan on Monday. Now you can think over the weekend. The big thing is those target markets. So if you can do a bit of thinking about those targets, then it's going to really help us when we come into the planning side.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much.
Good. Thank you. Sabrina?
Well, I think for me, because I'm sort of coming to the end of my time, it's much more about what I picked up from that I can pass on. We've got one employee who's very keen to advertise. He's already started a bit on social media, but small scale, because he's so involved in trying to manage everything else. But in a nutshell, there's a lot of useful information in there that I can summarize for him. Good.
And the key message to him, if he's doing it, is who are you marketing to and why?
Yes.
Because it's easy to just go and put stuff and be busy, but if you don't have that clarity, then you're just wasting time and money.
Right.
Cool. Nick?
So I think really it was the focus, rather than trying to sell to everyone, it is the A-grade customers, but each of them, they have problems in different areas that we would be able to help. So rather than, effectively I could find an area to push, but I could have 3 or 4 different strategies in each area, rather than just trying to say, we do this, 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 and this. We can do everything for you. It's, you know, actually, what is the problem? The problem is, you know, the poor wife's got to get out, walk down the end of the drive, and lock up the gate at the end of the night. Anyone who's got, you know, having that problem, okay, fine. Then once I'm out in front of them, that's when I start looking at the other things. And then if there's any other specific problems to that kind of target, so I probably just need to sit down and work out a few other sort of pains.
And the big thing for that is if you've got it right, then go back to your return on investment. You know, if a flyer to certain areas gets me one client a month, you know, at £2,000 and it costs me 200. Well, just keep running that. You've done the advert. You know, you send flyers out once a month, once every other month, and then you start another one. And you say, right, now I'm going to do, you know, another advert to, you know, or it might be to the same demographic, just I'm offering, you know, EV points 1 month and electric gates the next month.
Yeah.
And then I might do upgrades the third month and then go back to EV. You know, the fact that it's always green light that are there, they will still come to you for the other things.
Yeah.
So, cool, good. Gary?
Yeah, great teaching. Thanks for that, Kevin. So with my default diary, going back to admin days on Mondays, so I'm actually going to set aside an hour in admin days to do a marketing plan and actually sit down and answer the questions of who my A grade clients are and why are they A grade clients, so that at least so I can identify them easier when I get asked to go view jobs. I can identify, oh, you're an A grade client. Yeah, right. Click into that kind of marketing mode, because they would be the ones that I'd want to be more focused on and sort of keep as returning clients.
I'd also be thinking about the clients that you've got, is when you talk to them, right, what makes you, are you an A grade client? What makes you an A grade client, and where can I find more of you?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
And then the other thing is obviously redesign my leaflet.
Yeah. Always, if you've got any adverts, please send them to me first. I'll always critique them, have a look at them, and get them back to you. So, yeah, don't just do it and then press the button and send and pay for things that then I come in and go, oh, I wouldn't do it like that. So,
it's not even, it's only £25, so it's not even the money. It's just the, oh yeah, as soon as I did it and uploaded it in your guys' faces, there's like 6 faces that just went,
should have done that.
I'll only make that mistake once.
Cool, good. Megan?
Yeah, I think because I was quite a lot of time on Facebook and things, and I'm quite creative in the business now. I've been a lot involved in the creativity of things and like creating adverts, making them look nice, whereas this has made me realize I need to go back, you know, 5 steps, work on goal, you know, sort of jumping to the end one. So yeah, I'm gonna feel like I'm getting more out of it now, you know, targeting like the different people and again working towards that A grade customer, because we have like a couple of different types, so there's going to be probably different sort of strategies for each one. So,
yeah, and try. You know, you'll do one particular area and you may not get any results. You'll do another one and you'll get great results. It's really about test and measuring. You know, and then if you find one that works, then ramp it up, then really put money behind it and run with it. As I say, the guys on Snapchat, 40 grand, I have my mind now, 40 grand a day, if you can find one that works. So cool. Zoe, are you able to contribute? Or you still got children running around?
One's just started on the piano, so but yeah.
Taken to a dance school to get back your hair.
Yeah, we're probably slightly different because we are business to business, and we have a bit like, is it Nick? We have a lot of different areas that we can cover. So it's narrowing it down and trying to target the right people for the right things, really.
Where you've got multiple products, sometimes you need a marketing strategy for each one.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you just got to go through. I mean, say it shouldn't be. You know, when you do the hemp, it's no more than 10 minutes. You know,
Yeah,
sometimes.
Darren and I have already worked on one. So yeah, we've got targets on different areas of business that we could help, and different sort of ways of targeting the right people. So
yeah, once you've got that, then say just everything becomes so much easier when you know who you're marketing, what their problem is, and how you help them.
yeah, the only problem I've had, I mean, I do a lot of sort of telesales and online marketing. It's getting hold of the right person in the right place quite often.
Yeah. And that is the biggest cost of telesales is actually getting through to people.
Yeah.
Although I had one the other day, telesales phoned me up and said, "Oh, hi, Mr. Stansfield. I believe you've still got a drive." and I just laughed. I just went. Well, I just started laughing, and they just hung up. I was like, what a stupid question that is. Have you still got a drive? I mean, what kind of script have you worked on to actually make that your opening gambit? Oh, fucking hell. So he clearly was new, and so I think I might have ruined his day. But
yeah, probably didn't give him a great start.
Cool. So Kaylee.
Seeing that, like, how helpful it can be to, you know, start at the end and kind of see what we want to want as our result, and like our goals and targets. We kind of already know like our target audience, but knowing how specific we want to make it, and make it a bit more, a bit better overall, really.
Yeah, and do think on that, who's our client? You know, who are we really marketing? Is it the kids or the adults? And maybe try both. Try one for the kids, one for the adults, and see which one gets the best result. So cool. Well, if any of you want the hemp, this sort of diagram here, which gives you a bit, I've got a workbook which has got some details, and you can fill that in. It might give you a bit of a guide. If you want that, just email me and I'll send that across to you. Okay, I can put that out to everybody that wants a copy of that. Otherwise, yeah, I wish you well with your marketing plans. Say if you've got anything you want to just whiz past me, as long as you're on a coaching program, just to review, quite happy to do that. And otherwise, good luck with it. Wish you well. And say 2 weeks time will be finance, and then I think after that we're back into sales. So do make sure you come to the other ones and book on. And hopefully, apologies to Megan for getting the wrong code out to you. I think Jan had the same thing through Eventbrite, so I'll have to make sure that gets fixed for next time. So lovely. Have a good time and enjoy the weekend and this lovely bit of weather we've got. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later. Bye.
See you later.
Bye.